Melania and Donald Trump's marriage is currently disintegrating in the most hilarious and hypocritical way imaginable. It's hilarious because it's happening right in front of our eyes. We saw it over the weekend, we saw it today, and we just saw it happen again during a dinner with King Charles, where Melania gave Donald a little, well, we'll get into that in a second. But it's the hypocrisy that really gets me. Donald Trump is out here threatening to kick Jimmy Kimmel off the air again, all because Kimmel went after the beloved wife that Trump supposedly loves so much. Really, Donald? You love her so much that she can't stand to be in the same room as you? You love her so much that you completely forgot to wish her a happy birthday this past Sunday? Yeah, the marriage is in total free fall, and we've got a hilarious clip that proves exactly that. But look, that's not even the only humiliation Donald Trump has suffered tonight. This entire visit from King Charles has basically been one long humiliation ritual for Trump, and the best part is, he's playing right into it. We are going to break down what King Charles said in his speech before we get to the Melania moment. Actually, there are two Melania moments you're definitely going to want to see. But first, let's look at how Trump actually set himself up for the very mockery King Charles has been hitting him with.
But it was unconquerable courage, this inexhaustible supply of ambition, ingenuity, and resolve. From the trenches of World War I to the beaches of Normandy, from the frozen hills of Korea to the scorching sands of North Africa and the Middle East. And we're doing a little Middle East work right now, too, if you might know. And we're doing very well. We have militarily defeated that particular opponent, and we're never going to let that opponent ever, Charles agrees with me, even more than I do, we're never going to let that opponent have a nuclear weapon. They know that, and they've known it right now very powerfully. But our countries have stood together.
So Donald Trump, as always, cannot stop talking about not just himself, but his massive failure. His war on Iran is a massive failure, and it has been the topic of much consternation, at least with King Charles, as we will see in just a second. Because Charles has made it clear that Donald Trump's attacks on NATO, attacks on our allies through unnecessary trade wars, directly threatening world leaders, has only isolated him from the rest of the world. Number 15 loss than this, of course, is supposed to be a visit bringing the special relationship closer together. Has Donald Trump done that? Not really. No, because he can't. He can only talk about himself. He said that the speech given by King Charles today was great because he was jealous that he didn't get the applause from Democrats. Which, what is more Donald Trump than that? But no, King Charles has made it clear that he does not appreciate Donald Trump's isolationism. He does not appreciate his attacks on his allies, and he does not appreciate how Donald Trump claims that he is in charge of everything. In fact, he took a little bit of a shot at him for that right here.
This said, our French friends can feel equally at home with a glance at a map. Indeed, you recently commented, Mr. President, that if it were not for the United States, European countries would be speaking German. Dare I say that if it wasn't for us, you'd be speaking French.
I love that Donald Trump actually laughed at that joke, pretending for a second that he actually understands the history being referenced. You know, Trump was sitting there thinking, wait, did we go to war with the French recently? When did that happen? Was I there for that? What's going on? The man is an absolute idiot. Truly. I love the idea that Donald Trump, the same guy who probably thinks the Declaration of Independence was signed after the Civil War, actually understands the nuances of a historical jab. But look, Donald Trump hasn't caught on to a lot of the nuances today, especially when it comes to Melania. Like I said, this hasn't just been a night of humiliation, it's been an entire day of humiliation. And it all started with Melania clearly not being a fan of the joke Trump tried to crack earlier. But before we get into that infamous swatty moment, and you guys know exactly the one I mean, let's look at how this train wreck actually began. Trump gets death stare from Melania after public disc. Donald Trump, talking of his mother and father today, said she came to America at 19 and met my incredible father. We loved him so much. We all loved him and we loved her. They were married for 63 years. Trump said, turning to his first lady and then saying, Dear, I don't think we're going to break that record. Melania Trump didn't look impressed as a 79-year-old husband told his joke, which came one day after she and the president demanded the sacking of TV host Jimmy Kimmel. And this was not the only, I would say, not sacking but smacking, because take a look at this clip right here. And it's not just the get your hand away. Apparently, Donald Trump after that didn't want to get handsy with Melania because Trump raised a toast at the state dinner, but he forgot to toast Melania. Oh man, I don't know if it's dementia or that he just hates his wife. Think about how pathetic this is. Donald Trump can't even get a laugh out of Melania. She won't even let him hold her hand. At one point, he basically says, "Screw your hand, I'll just toast myself." It is the most Donald Trump thing you could possibly imagine. But wait, these are the same people demanding that Jimmy Kimmel be kicked off the air because he told a horrible joke? They claim Kimmel is low-rated, unimpressive, and talentless. Yet, they also claim he's powerful enough to inspire an assassin? Allegedly? Look, whether that event was staged or not is up for debate. But let's be real. This is an administration that covers up everything. This is a man who launched a war just to stop us from talking about the Epstein files. So, would they really stop at nothing to prevent a journalist from receiving an award for exposing that very cover-up? It's just a question. But we are supposed to believe that Jimmy Kimmel needs to be cancelled for making a statement that is technically a fact. Melania hates her husband. These are the same anti-censorship, First Amendment warriors who suddenly want the government to step in and silence a comedian. But here's the thing. If Kimmel is so low IQ and low talent, why are you so afraid of him? Who is he actually impacting? The MAGA arguments fall apart the second you apply an ounce of logic. They are just a bunch of fragile complainers who can't handle having their feelings hurt. And when they get upset, they take their ball and go home. The problem is, for Donald Trump, that ball is the United States of America. I laugh because if I don't, I'll cry. But that is exactly why King Charles is here. That's why he gave a speech before Congress that had even the most hardcore MAGA loyalists standing and cheering for NATO and aid for Ukraine. Why? Because the world wants an adult in the room. Just because Donald Trump is 79 doesn't mean he isn't a 79-year-old baby. I've read your comments today. A lot of you are rightfully upset, asking, who would even want to visit Trump? There's a lot of sympathy for King Charles. I can't imagine being stuck in a room with Trump either. But there's a strategic purpose here. Who does Trump's isolationism actually help? Number one, it helps Russia. It separates us from our NATO allies and leaves Ukraine hanging out to dry. Who else does it help? It helps Netanyahu. If Trump thinks Israel is our only ally that matters, he'll do whatever Bibi says. That's how we got into this mess. And when there's a conflict between Israel, Iran and the US, and you see a blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, who wins? Iran makes billions of oil sales because Trump lifted sanctions. And then we go right back to Putin, who gets to sell his oil and gas to a world desperate for energy because of that blockade. If you believe, as I do, that Donald Trump is a puppet, if not outright blackmailed by Putin and Netanyahu, you can see exactly how the dominoes fall in their favor. Our isolation plays directly into their hands. This is why King Charles is pushing back so hard, and he said exactly that right here.
At a most critical time in the darkest days of the 20th century, American leadership helped rebuild a shattered continent, playing a decisive role as a defender of freedom in Europe. We and I shall never forget that, not least as freedom is again under attack following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Today, our partnerships in NATO and AUKUS deepen our technological and military cooperation and ensure that together we can meet the challenges of an increasingly complex and contested world.
And that right there is the entire point of this visit. That's the special relationship at work. Our allies are basically stepping in to say, hey, don't listen to this guy. But you have to understand why any nation would look at America and see an unreliable trading partner and a shaky military power. It's not just because of Trump, it's because of the people who elected him and the business leaders who sold us out for a quick profit. You can see why the world is skeptical. You can see why they distrust us. And this is where it gets ridiculous. When I say I don't want a long-term relationship with the Israeli government, people immediately scream anti-Semitism. First of all, we are talking about a secular nation. And look at the data. Their younger generation is significantly more radical, more conservative, and more fanatical than the older generations. It is gross. It's fanatical. When I criticize a secular nation for its actions, people freak out. But we are perfectly okay with other countries distrusting Americans because of our politics. What's the difference? Why is one form of skepticism allowed and the other is off limits? There are people who demand that Israel be immune from criticism. You aren't allowed to say a single word. But it's the exact same logic. King Charles is stepping in to try to save the US-UK relationship. He's telling the world, don't give up on these Americans yet. I know they've messed it up twice now, but hold on for hope. We might get a Gavin Newsom, an AOC, an Andy Beshear, or a Pete Buttigieg. We might get Chris Murphy, Wes Moore, or Raphael Warnock. Just hold out a little longer. But when we ask, how can we possibly maintain a relationship with a violent, genocidal administration in Israel, they try to silence us with labels. I am putting these two things side by side so you can see the hypocrisy. They want to stop us from calling for an end to weapon sales and an end to aid for a genocidal nation. They will use every trick in the book to shut us down. But the reasons for skepticism are clear in both cases. So that's my 2 cents on that. We're going to leave it there. Well, actually, let's leave it on the fact that Donald Trump and Melania are clearly headed for a divorce. If you want to support this work and keep independent media alive, hit that subscribe button right now. Leave a like on this video to help us reach more people. And if you're a real one who stuck around until the very end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Do not let them silence you. I'm Liam Prescott, and I'll see you in the next one.